When you think about it, what's the last really big decision you made? Was it based on a gut feeling, a guess, or something solid? The truth is, every single successful outcome, every breakthrough, it's all built on a foundation of good data. So in this explainer, we're going to learn how to lay that foundation brick by brick, so every decision you make is built to last.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll tackle why good data is so dang important. Then, we'll get into the two basic types, your building blocks. After that, we'll map out our data collection plan, check our tools, and finally, see how it all comes together so you can build with total confidence.
Okay, let's get right into it. Section 1. Why good data matters. We're talking about the danger of a cracked foundation.
I want you to picture any big decision you have to make, as a building, right? You could have the most amazing design, the absolute best team on the planet, but if that foundation is built on sand, the whole thing is just doomed to collapse. Well, bad data, that's the sand. It's that weak, unstable ground.
So you see, it really doesn't matter how brilliant your strategy is. If the information it's built on is flawed from the get-go, you're not just taking a risk. No, you are actively, brick by brick, building towards failure.
Okay, so that's the why. Let's move on to the what. Section 2 is all about the two types of data. Before you can build anything, you have to know your materials, right? You got to know your bricks and your mortar.
It's kind of cool. All data, no matter how complicated it seems, really just boils down to two main types. Over here, you've got continuous data. The best way to think about this is like a measuring tape. It can be 10.1 inches, 10.11. You can get super, super precise. And then over here, you have discrete data. This is more like counting bricks. You have 10 bricks or you have 11 bricks. You're never going to have 10.5 bricks.
So let's zoom in on that first one, continuous data. It's all about a spectrum, a range. Think about temperature. It's not just 70 or 71 degrees, right? It could be 70.35 degrees. Or think about time, or length, or weight. All of these things can be measured with more and more and more precision. Now, discrete data is the total opposite. It's all about separate, countable things. You can't have half of it. Like the number of defects on a production line. It's either 3 or it's 4. A test result is either a pass or a fail, or a customer satisfaction score from 1 to 5. These are all distinct, separate buckets.
All right, so we know our materials. We've got our bricks and mortar. Now what? Well, now we need a plan. Let's talk about Section 3, your data collection plan. This is literally the blueprint for your success.
Look, a good plan doesn't have to be some 50-page document. It really just comes down to 3 simple questions. First, what exactly are you trying to figure out? Second, how are you actually going to get that data? And third, and seriously, this is the one that trips almost everyone up, who is collecting it, and how are you going to make absolutely sure that everyone does it the exact same way every single time?
And trust me, this is not just busy work. Having a clear plan is your single best defense against collecting a giant mountain of totally useless, inconsistent data. It's what stops those cracks from ever forming in your foundation long before you've even laid the first brick. Okay, so you've got your materials, you've got your blueprint, you're ready to go, right? Well, not quite. There's one more critical check we have to do. Welcome to Section 4. Can you trust your tools? Think of this as the final quality inspection. Just think about this for a second. What if you do everything else perfectly? You've got a great plan, you know exactly what data you need, but the ruler you're using is wrong. What if it's off by just half an inch every single time? Suddenly, every single measurement you take is completely flawed from the start.
So this is exactly where a professional technique called measurement system analysis, or MSA, comes into play. And hey, don't let that technical name scare you. All it is, really, is a way to test your entire measurement process. We're talking the tool itself, the person using the tool, even the environment it's in, all to figure out if the numbers you're getting are actually trustworthy.
Just look at this table here. It's a perfect example. We have 3 different people, all measuring the exact same object, and what happens? They get 3 different results. So what's the deal? Is the problem with the object itself, or is it with how it's being measured? That is the core question that MSA helps you answer. It helps you pinpoint how much of that variation, that noise, is coming from your system, so you can get rid of it and finally trust your data. You've probably heard this before, garbage in, garbage out. It's one of the oldest sayings in data analysis for a very good reason, because it is absolutely, fundamentally true. If the data you're feeding into your analysis is junk, then the results you get back are gonna be junk. But here's the cool part.
We can flip that whole idea on its head. By having a solid plan and by validating our tools with something like MSA, we can guarantee quality in. And when you put quality in, you get confident, reliable, rock-solid decisions coming out the other side. All right, let's bring it all home. Section 5, Building with Confidence. Let's recap the key things you need to remember.
So think of this as your final checklist for building a solid foundation. First, remember your decisions are only as good as your data. It has to be strong. Second, always know your materials. Are you dealing with continuous or discrete data? Third, you have to work from a blueprint. That means a solid collection plan. And finally, you have to inspect your tools with something like MSA to make sure they're accurate. You get these things right, and you're not just collecting numbers anymore, you're building the bedrock of your success.
So, as we wrap this up, I'll leave you with one final thought to take with you. Think about that next big project on your plate. Is its data foundation, its very core, really built to last? Thanks for joining me on this explainer.